Hey, hi, it's Blender Babe Tarashaun here, and I am going to show you some of the stuff we do behind the scenes at Blender Babe, some of our testing of the different types of blenders that you guys have been asking about and want to know about. And I'm having a lot of fun doing them all at once. I usually just do them individually, so getting to look at how they compare with some of the top blenders, which of course are Blendtec and Vitamix. I have the Blendtec Total Blender here, and I have the Oster Versa 1100, the Oster Versa 1400, which this is 1100 watts, 1400 watts, 1560 watts, and the little new Vitamix S30. It's the personal blender. This one's actually only 790 watts or something like that. And then the newest Nutribullet RX, which is they say it's 2.3 horsepower, which on the box it says 1700 watts, which I find a little confusing because this is 1560 watts and a 3 peak horsepower motor. So I'm gonna have to research that a little bit later. But I like to go by watts because there's a little discrepancies with horsepowers. But anyway, that's another story. So today we're going to make Dr. Oz's green juice. It's one of the most popular juice recipes on our site. If you want to know the ingredients, just go ahead and search on blenderbabes.com. But I chose it because it's got lots of leafy greens. There's spinach, there's parsley, there's hard apples, there's ginger, cucumber, water, and it's just a really good detoxing, cleansing green juice that you can make. And there's also a little bit of ice. So I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about these blenders when I took them out of the box and maybe like their price points. So the Oster Versa 1100, it's $150, and it comes with this 8-cup jar that you see here on the blender. It also comes with a food processor, which I thought was really cool. I'm not gonna lie, I did cut my finger on the sharp blade, so you just gotta be really, really careful with stuff like this. It also comes with 2 of these little like blend and go cups. So kind of like a Nutribullet, you would fill your jar with whatever you kind of want to blend, and then somehow get this on here, and then you can stick it right here on the blender and blend and go. So I haven't played with this one yet. I've just been going with the 8-cup one, but I think that's really neat that it has these little additions. Some people are into that, especially if you have a family and each kid can kind of make their smoothie that they want to make and then take it to go with them to school. It has a little screw top here that you would put on and take it to go. So that's pretty cool. It is $150 with those pieces. There's also an additional accessory that's a 4-cup smaller jar. It comes with a tamper that is used for nut butters, and it's used for grinding, and that would make this a $200 package. And I did some price comparisons, and it's about how much it is on Amazon as well. So that would be $200 for that, for everything. And I personally, I would want that little jar. I do like to make nut butters. I do grind, but if that's something that you don't do, then I would say stick with the $150 package. So this one's the Oster Versa. It's the 1400 watts. It's pretty powerful. I've been having fun playing with it. This one is, the MSRP is about $250, but I've seen it on Amazon for $200. And it comes with its own tamper, very similar to a Vitamix, and it's got an 8-cup, jar as well. It also has some program settings. This one too also has program settings, so that's neat. It also has a low, medium, and high manual control. This one does as well, and this one's just more powerful. The blade doesn't come apart from the jar, very similar to a Blendtec or Vitamix, which I love. It's easier for cleaning. I hate taking all that kind of stuff apart and having all these pieces. This one's one of those where you do have to take it apart and clean the separate blade and jar and all that kind of stuff. And so then we have our little Vitamix S30, which is, I think, really cute. It's also great for travel. It's great if you have a really small space, or if you're just a single person and you make enough smoothie for just you. You're not really making it for more people, but it can do everything. I've done sauces in here. I've done little other blender drinks besides smoothies. And I really like it, considering the power, it actually can do a lot of stuff. It can't do everything that a standard or next generation Vitamix model can do that's, 2 horsepower or more, but it can do grinding, all that kind of stuff. It does have the kind where you pull apart, the jar and the blade to clean, but it does also come with a blend and go cup, similar to that one, that's really, really high quality. That actually don't have it here with me today, but I have it at home and I've been using it and I really like it. So this one is the Nutribullet RX, which is pretty awesome. It is, it's very different. I haven't played with this one kind before, where you stack your ingredients with the hard stuff at the bottom, because you're going to turn it around and stick it on the base. And this particular one, I think the other one's the same. You actually want to not have it plugged in, because once you put it in, it's going to automatically, and it connects, it's going to automatically start blending. So you actually want to either already have it in and then plug it in, or plug it in first and then add this. And it's on a 1-minute timer. So it's a 1-minute automatic setting for smoothies, and then they have this thing called the Super Blaster mode, and it blends for 7 minutes with a little bit of intervals. It goes up and down to kind of move ingredients around, and I'm excited to try that out. So this is actually the special jar for soup when you want to make hot stuff, because it has a special lid that's going to release the steam and the heat, so you don't hurt yourself. And it also comes with this smaller jar, which is just a smaller version of this one. And this is a special pitcher cup, so that's kind of neat. And then it also comes with these other accessories, which is a lid. So say you wanted to blend it and go, you could just screw this lid on. And I'll show you guys more of this in probably a more in-depth review, but this is something that I'm doing at home. I just happened to record it. I've never recorded my behind the scenes stuff. So this makes it a blend and go. And then this little inner lid here does the same thing. It's basically making it so that you're not drinking off the side of this threaded cup. So this is just supposed to make it easier on your mouth to drink. I think that's kind of neat. There are a lot of pieces here. I'm very used to your motor and your jar, and that's it, which is good for me because I lose pieces and I have to find pieces and figure out how to work and all that kind of stuff. So that's for me, but I know some people like that. So this is also a jar, the extractor blade tightener, which makes it really tight because otherwise it can leak. And it also will loosen it as well, which takes a little muscle to do, but I'm sure you guys got that. So, okay, so we're gonna make some green juice. I'm actually gonna do the Blendtec first, and then do the rest, because these two are going to possibly need my help with the tamper. These other ones don't come with a tamper, and technically wouldn't need it. So I'm using the Blendtec as a control. I've made this juice 100 times in this blender, and I know the texture, I know the quality, so I know it's really, really good. And I'm going to kind of test these ones in terms of taste and texture, and straining and pouring out and seeing if there's any chunks, or if they're, just the quality of the juice. Okay, so I'm going to do a little taste test. So with the Vitamix, I did use half the recipe as I did with these other ones, because it's a smaller jar, and I cut up I cut the apple though and the celery exactly the same, which for me means, you know, a lot less prep work. I kind of chop things up as not as small as you normally do with a regular blender because I'm trying to save time. And with the Vitamix, there's actually a piece of celery and apple. So I would, I've used this several times at home before in my other testing, and everything was fine. So I think that ideally you just want to chop things up slightly smaller than you would with any of these guys. It is a smaller jar, it is a smaller blender with less, you know, half the power of a regular Vitamix. So that's is the conclusion for the S30. Let's try this. So, definitely by far the smoothest. This has some texture to it. It's very typical for a green juice. Again, it's not a smoothie. So when I do green juices, lots of leafy greens, carrots, things like that, I actually blend for about 1.5 minutes. So I only did 1 minute there. So I'm probably gonna do this test again. But probably not on camera, where I do it for 1.5 minutes, and I'd like to see the difference then to do a real comparison. I'm gonna do the smear test, but this is showing, you can see how there's pieces here. This is the Oster Versa 1100. So you can see that there's a lot more texture than what the Blendtec has over here, because it's not fully homogenized. The Oster Versa 1400 is better than the 1100. It's not as smooth as the Blendtec. The Nutribullet RX, taste-wise, you can still taste the texture, but you can see here that it's definitely more blended, better blended than the Oster Versa. I'm just gonna do a really quick test here too, just because I want to see. Got some green smoothie foam. So that actually comes from the insoluble fibers in certain fruits and vegetables and leafy greens. There's an article about it on BlenderBabes.com. If you hate green smoothie foam, how to probably help get rid of it. But I usually do this with a more professional sieve at home to better see. But I think there's definitely a lot more left here in the Oster. I know you can't see this, guys, but I will do a better video at home where you guys can see it in the studio, and I've got lots of help. So that one's also pretty thick. And I'm gonna edit this video down because it's gonna be a long one, if I even post it. So yeah, the Nutribullet's actually very, very, very thick. It's not much of a juice here. I don't know if you can see this here. It's almost like it was more blended into the larger pieces, but it's still a lot here. It's just a little. So anyway, I would say in conclusion, if you're interested in the Vitamix S30, it's still a great blender, but you just want to chop things up into smaller pieces. The Oster Versa, I would definitely recommend the 1400 over the 1100 from what I've seen so far. The Nutribullet, I still want to play with it some more. I'm going to do a berry seed test and a soup test, grinding. I think I'm going to make a frozen treat, nut butters, so milk substitutes, all the stuff that I always do with blenders when I get them to try out. So I'm sure you'll find all of the results on BlenderBabes.com. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. So, Dad, Sophia, what's your conclusion?
1 and 2.
Blendtec number 1 and Nutribullet number 2.
I like the Nutribullets, yep. A little bit thicker, but it's not chunky.
Enter our latest blender giveaway by visiting blenderbabes.com /giveaway.